another data wrapper, which are lists. Okay, so basically let's just group or wrap data up in a certain way, which is actually different from tables. Okay, and we're gonna see that, but in a minute I'm gonna show you what happened. I just created a list file right here, and I'm gonna just do some examples. And I think we need to know about lists also, that we have different kind of lists. In this video I'm gonna just explain ordered and unordered lists. All right, so let me just start with creating my own comment right here. Let's start with ordered lists. All right, and basically do this. All you have to do is just to go, OL, which is basically a short for order list, and close this and start one again and OL. As any other tag or element you wrote. So now inside we need some other items, which is, or other tags, which are li, and close this. And now we need the content right here, and we need to close, we need to write our closing tag. Okay, so basically the li, the L is just for list and the I for item. It's basically for just a list item right here. And of course we can add as many as we want. All right, so if I just go and list some programming languages, just a dummy example. Now we need to write another one. Let's say this one's gonna be PHP li. Now if I just copy this, Control S, Control V, and V again. If I'm sorry about that, that was my phone. So basically, as I was saying, I was just copying this and adding some dummy data right here. Let's say this one C++, and this one right here is Python. Right, sounds great. Now if I save this one and go right here to my list file, refresh this one, you can see that we have our list right here. Let me just zoom this in, and you see that we have our list right here. Now I can actually add more as we want. Let me save this one to Ruby. Right, now we have our fifth item right here. You can actually set this if you want to display this in another way, as like non-numbered ways, you can just go right here and type in this attribute type, and we can set this A, and if we save this, will now become A, B, C, D, E, and we can set it also to Roman numbers, I, right here. And you can see right here we have our own Roman numbers. And of course you can copy this and add a little more, and add as many lists as you want. Now if I were to go and comment this one, so we can go to the next list, is unordered list, and as you may have guessed, we need now the UL, which stands for the unordered list. Now UL, and just the same way, okay, li, which stands for list item. Now let's give this one for frameworks, I say Laravel li, and this one Bootstrap, which is just a CSS framework. No, I'm sorry about that. This is li, this is actually the content. Okay, li, and just me just copy a little more, and this one, let's see, cake php, and the last one is node gs dot gs. And if we go back and refresh this one, you can see that we have our unordered list right here. So if I go now, if I go now and I want to change like the style of these bullets right here, I can basically do this with my attribute style, and the property is going to be list dash style type, and I can set this one to let's say square. Well, let's just see what it gives us. Fresh, now we can see them as squares, and you can see this to circles. Fresh this. No, it's not, that's not true. As square circles, yeah, we can set it as disk. Okay, this back, now it's giving us the disk. Let's set this to circle. All right. Yeah, this is basically it for, you know, it's basically it for the unordered list. All right, so this is basically it for this video. It should be really short, and lists are prominent, so you're gonna use them a lot all over your page. All right, so this is it for this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. So now we've talked a bit about lists. I'm gonna just create with you guys the simple navigation menu so we can train what we've learned, and you can expect this and as an exercise and just follow along with me. Okay, so basically we're gonna create an ordered list, and we're gonna design it a little using CSS. And don't be afraid, it's gonna be really simple. CSS is very predictable, and you just use it a lot, and it's not that hard. Okay, and we're not gonna write a lot of CSS. Actually, it's really basic exercise, so you just follow along. So first of all, we're gonna create our unordered list. If you haven't created, of course, this file, just go ahead and create it, and we are gonna type in our list items. Let's call this one, yeah, actually we are gonna use our anchors right here, and of course you can use any tags inside this list items. We're gonna set this one href nothing, which is basically a hash. It's just a convention. If you don't want to write anything in the href, you write your hash. Okay, so let's give this for home. Let's close this one, and let's close the list item. Okay, and just copy this, Control C, F just twice. Let's call this about. This one is contact. All right, so if we save this one, you can actually just right click on this and open in the browser. You can see right here that we have our list right here, our unordered list right here. So we're just gonna need to design this a little bit. So of course, to design this one, we're gonna need a style tag right here. Let's close it, and now we need to snap the unordered list so we can perform a design. And our first thing that we need to do is just clip off or make the margin and padding for 0, and basically the margin is the space around the element itself. Okay, so basically we wanna when we come over here, we want to like eliminate all of these spaces right here. This is basically the margin, and the padding is for clipping also the spaces, but in borders. Okay, so we want to clip every space, or we want to remove every space right here. So if we go to the margin 0, and the padding also is 0. Okay, and we want to eliminate these like bullets right here. And for this one, we're gonna go ahead and style list style type, and this is gonna be none. Okay, so if we save this one and go ahead and refresh, you can see that we got our these guys right here this way. So actually we can perform some other certain and we also need to do an overflow, which will also clip our content right here. We'll clip some of the spaces around our content, and the last one, we are gonna do a background color is gonna be red. Alright, so if we save this one, go back right here and refresh, and see right here that we got this background color right here. So now we need to snap the list item. Okay, so we can actually deal with every item right here. So let me just explain how this will goes. So yeah, if I snap on this one, you can see the list item is the whole thing, like from the home to like to the far width. If I go for the anchor, it's just basically the text. Okay, and the UL is the whole thing, as you've seen right here. Okay, so like it's highlighted in here. So if I go ahead and just try to get my list item, and we're only gonna do one thing, which is the float, and the float will basically remove all of these list items to the left. Okay, for the float you can set it to left, right, you know, top, bottom, but now we need to just set it to the left. Okay, so we can get everything on the left, and you can see right here that we're getting all of these guys on the left. Okay, so now what we need is to just change the color of these guys, and we want to make like some padding so we can have some spaces between them. Okay, and we want to just remove the line under them. So basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna snap the eye, and if you want to go for what do you call it, if you want to go for an element inside another element, you'll have to write, you know, the parent first and the child. Okay, the parent is the, what is that? Yeah, actually this, well, this is supposed to be like this. So if you want to go for the child, you're gonna, which is the anchor right here, you're gonna have to write the parent right here. So if we go like this, and let's set the color for let's set it for white, and let's do the text decoration, let's set it to none, and this basically will make the text decoration, it will just delete it or remove it. And now we need some padding, and padding will, let's set it for 16 pixels. And basically the padding, as I said earlier, it's basically some spaces between the elements. Okay, so by now I save this, refresh it. And so actually the overflow was supposed to be hidden, not none. Okay, and if I save this, go back and refresh, you can see that right here we have our menu. Okay, so now we need to center it a little bit, and we are gonna just go for text align, and that will center our content. Okay, so basically we're actually done right here. So for our last thing, we want to just we want to add a hover effect for our content right here. So the hover effect will basically we'll basically just do an action when we hover over these anchors right here. So we want the background color to be white, and we want the color to be black. Okay, so now if we save this, refresh, and see right here that we get like some nice effect right here. So this is basically the menu. It was just a simple example of how an order, of how to do some CSS with your order list. Of course, like so yeah, this is basically it, and thanks for watching. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in this one we are going to be working with forms, which are all over the place, starting from your Facebook login page, Instagram login or register page. Like, forms are really crucial and important on the web. Okay, and forms, as you might know, they just ways or just a mean to collect data from the user and process it using some back-end language. Okay, so basically the main idea of forms is to collect data. Okay, just like the forms on paper, they're basically the same thing. So this is our page right here, our HTML document with like the file forms right over here, and we are going to do just a form. Okay, and basically to create a form on the web, it's really easy. You just have to go form tag, and let me close this. And this is actually going to take a couple of videos. Okay, forms are a big deal on the web. So To go over here, we can do some labels, which is basically what the text that the user will see. Okay, just to indicate what this input for, and we need to do our for right here. And you can write this, you can write it like whatever you want. Let's say this is for first name, and we are gonna call this first name. We are gonna close this one. All right, so now we are gonna start with our input or text field. Input. There's a lot of things that you can put on your form. Okay, so this is why it's gonna take a couple of videos to do this. So basically, we can do input type of text fields. We can do check boxes. We can do select boxes. We can do text areas. It's just a whole lot of them. And for this one, we are gonna do an attribute right here, which is the type, which actually defines the type of this input. And we can do this one as text. Okay, and we need another attribute right here. Let's call it's actually name. Okay, and name is basically just a reference. When you're working with your backend, you're gonna use this to insert or update or delete data. So the name is actually really important, and we can call this f name just for the first name. And it's basically you don't need a closing tag for this one. So if I just copy these guys right here and just paste them again, just to save you some time, we can call this let's say we can keep this whole one as a name. You can say this also as a name. All right, just to make it more real life. And we can keep this one as email, and we can also copy this and keep this for email. You can actually write this for whatever you want, but let's just keep it as that, just to be more clear. And the input type, we can keep it as text, or we can actually set it as an email. They're basically the same thing. And this one, we're gonna keep it as an email. Now let me just do one more. All right, so we can set this as password, the password, and we can copy it right here, and we can give the name as password, and we're gonna set the type as a password. All right, so I need to do some BRs right here, so we can get a new line for every one of these lines right over here. All right, so if I save this whole thing, and I will just go for my forums page and just refresh, you can see right here that we got the name, which is the label. Let me open up my inspect element. Okay, the label is the name right here, and if we click on this icon right here, you can see the input, which is right here with the name and the type is text. And you can see in the next one the email input right here. All right, and the name is also here, and it just goes on and on. But if we try actually and write something right here, we can say can put whatever name you like, and we can go whatever you like. And if we try go ahead and write the password, okay, maybe there is something wrong with the type. Password, yeah, there was something wrong. We actually have more than 2 S's right here, so we actually password was wrong. So if I save this, if I go right here and refresh, I can just type it in real quick. Email. Just I want to show you how the password displays when we write it, just as you see every day on the web. If I try to write the password, you can see right here actually appears as dots. Okay, so this is basically the difference between the types. If we set it to text, it's gonna like show up as a text, but if we set it as a password, okay, the input type, it's gonna show up as a password, and that's only logical, right? So we can actually add another input right here. Let me just add a BR right for this one, and we can add an input of type of text, sorry, not text, just a button. All right, and we can name this one as submit, and let's see what we have. Okay, and basically, yeah, this input type button named submit, yeah, the name is basically submit. If we now just save and refresh, you can see that right here we have like an input, but we don't actually have a value for it. So if we set a value, which is another attribute, it will give us, you know, a name for this button. Now we can set the value for submit, refresh, and we can see here the submit value in the input right here. So basically this is what the value does when you write an input type of button. But when you write it for an input type of any let's say of a type of text, let's just try it out. And I know like this is a lot to take on one video, but you know, this is gonna be a really useful example when you write forms. Okay, I don't actually need to memorize anything here, just understand and don't try to memorize. Okay, and for this value right here, I can put the email as at gmail.com. Okay, so I'm setting a value for the input. If we save this, refresh back, you can see that we have our email right here. So to recap, the value when you write it for a type of button, it's basically the writing on this button. Okay, but when you set it for a type of text, it's basically gonna be the value, the real value for this text, as you've seen right here. Okay, so yeah, this is basically it, and these are not everything in this form. So let's recap what we're doing right here. So forms are basically a way of collecting data on the internet, and they're processed by some back-end language. Okay, and we have two types for now, or two things for now to use with forms. First of all, a label and the input. Okay, the label just basically tells the user on the screen what to do with this input. Like this one is for name, this one for email, and this one for password. All right, and the input is the actual text field, or the actual input. Okay, and we have two main attributes for now. We have the type, which dictates the type of this input. It can be text and it can be button. Okay, there's actually too many of them, but we're just getting started with forms right now. And we have the second attribute, which is the name, and you can set this to anything you want. It's just basically a reference that you set for dealing with the back end later on, or dealing with some other programming language to collect this data later on. Okay, and we have right here a last thing, the value attribute. Okay, which differs from like the input with a type of button, basically like the writing on the button, and for like the input of type text, it's basically the main value that you write on the text right here. So yeah, this is basically our forms, just in a simple, very simple terms. And in the next couple of videos, we're gonna take a deeper look at forms. Alright, so this is basically it for this one, and see you in the next video. So now to the next form video, which is also really interesting and important, and we're gonna talk about in this one about select, button, and text area. And actually you have a lot of form elements. If you guys look at this one, let me just paste it right here. These are like the form elements that we can use, okay? And there is a whole lot more, but we will not discuss every one of those because it just take a little too much. I already did input, label. I'm gonna do select, text area, and button, and you can look up these guys. They're basically really simple. So yeah, let me just comment those, and let's go back to our form element stuff. So now to create a select, so we can start by just describing and explaining what select box is, which is basically a data collector like the input, but it gives you like too many options to choose from, or like pre-written options to choose from. And if we just go ahead and write in select, as you may have noticed, it's very predictable, and we can specify a name, and as I said, the name is just a reference for the back-end processing. Let's name this one gender. All right, and now we need to write our options, and just close this option. And yeah, we actually need the value right here. Let's say this one male, and the content male, and just copy this a little more, female, and here female, and this one is other. All right, so type it in real quick. And now if I save this one, let's say we want to type something right here, we can do a table, we can do, sorry, a label. Yeah, can save this one as for gender, and we can also go choose, what would you call it, gender. So yeah, let me just copy this one, or got it, and get it right here. All right, and just move this, and now if I save this one, let's say our select, we refresh, now you can see that we have our select just right here. If I now do one other more PR, we can get a new line. Yeah, let's just do one more. Save this, and yeah, so we can get this space so the form can look a little more nicer. So we have our, actually let me do another one right here. So yeah, this is basically it. Now it says choose gender, which is the label. If I inspect on this one, you can see right here the label here, and here you go, our select box right here with the value and everything, and with its options. All right, so what if I want to, like, when the page loads again, I want to give the user a pre-selected option from this. You can basically write, your attribute which is selected, and when you write it, this one's gonna be selected once the user opens the page. So if now if I refresh, you can see that one that's pre-selected is female. Now if I try it, Let me just cut it here and go for mail and just save and refresh. You can see right here that mail is already selected right there for us, and it's actually by default the first one is going to be selected. All right, so this is basically it for the selection box. It basically gives the user some options to choose from. All right, so up to the next one, which was on the text area. All right, so let me just go down here, text area, and we are gonna do some calls, which are basically the columns, and this basically dictates the number of columns that you will have. Let's say 10 columns and rows, and this also will dictate the number of rows that you are gonna get. And let's also do a name. I'm actually writing the name just to let you know it's really important. And let's say this data, and just set a dummy name for now, and can close this one, text area, just like this. And if we save this one, let me do both of these guys right here. And now let's refresh. You can see right here that we got our own select box. If we're gonna increase the number of rows, let me increase it to 20, so it can look a little bigger. Yeah, it's actually a lot bigger. We need to increase this guy, and this one, let's set it for 15. All right, so let's keep this as 10. We now save, and now if we refresh, you can see right here we got our text area. All right, so if we need some content inside the text area that's already shown, we can go just some, here is, let's say, here is my bio, just a little something. If we refresh, you can see that right here we got our content in here. So this is basically it, the text area, which is just another big input that you set on your page if you want to collect some data which is bigger than an input. All right, so you can dictate everything, the columns, rows, and of course the name. So yeah, it's pretty simple, easy, and you're gonna do it a lot. So last one is the button, and we already have a button on this input right here, okay, which is a type of button, but there is also, you can set your own button without using the input. We can just do button right here, and basically the button it's just a clickable button to collect data, or to submit data to this form, or to just do any other processing on the page. And the button, let's set it to a name. Let's set it to submit. All right, and we'll just delete this one later. And let's close this one. And as you've seen right here, we can see the name as submit. All right, and we don't need a type for the button right here because it's already a button. Okay, and if we save this one and go right here, we can see that we have two types of buttons right now. If we go ahead and just comment this one right over here and refresh this, and see that we have our button right here. There it is. Okay, if we click on it, okay, nothing will actually happen. It's just sending this data that we have on our forms right here, but nothing usually happens. Okay, we're just working on some content. So yeah, this is basically it for the button, and I want to just do this, is gonna be a little JavaScript, so don't freak out. It's just a programming language, and this one should be really easy. So if I want to just do something, when I click on this button right here, it can just like display a symbol tab right here, just to show you that the button just is clickable. And on click, we're gonna do, let's see, alert. It's just, we're gonna show some little alert, hello from alert. All right, so this should work. If I now save this one and go ahead and refresh, if I click on here, you can see that right here, hello from Mbot. So yeah, this is basically it for the form. These three form elements. Hope you guys liked it. Okay, just don't freak out, everything is fine. Okay, yeah, I know it's getting a little bigger and bigger over time, but you know, you'll just get there and do it. So yeah, see you on the next video. So now to another form video, and we're getting to the end of the form. We have these guys right here. We have radio, button, checkboxes, and files. Basically, we've talked in the previous videos about some input types, and we're gonna take a look at those guys right here. We talked about the input type text, talked about password, and we talked about the input type button. But today we're going to take a look at radio button, which allows you to choose from different choices, and the checkbox is pretty similar to the radio button, and the file allows you to download a file. Okay, we're not going to actually download it. Lets you just choose a file from your PC. To download a file, you need to work with some backend language like PHP, Ruby, C#, something like that. So let me just paste this right here. This is how you actually write your radio input. Okay, so just take a look, pause the video. I didn't want to do all of this in the video, so we'll make it too big. So just take a look, and we look right here. We have the input right here. We have the type, which is radio, and the value is the teacher. Now let me just add a label right here. For job, let's may call it choose your job. All right, so now if I add just a BR right here, we get a new line. All right, so now we have the input type of radio, and the value is a teacher, and the name is a job. And we have the label right here, and we have also another input, and you have to keep the name the same thing in the whole three inputs right here, or it will choose all of them. Okay, but obviously when you try to use a radio button, you only have to let the user, to make the user just choose one thing. Okay, one option only. So this one, we have also a type radio, and we have the value as a doctor, and we have also some label right here, and the last one we have the radio type as radio also, and the value as alert. And as you can see in here right here, you can just save this after type it, of course. And if I'm going to go right here and just refresh, you can see that right here I can only choose one of these guys. If I now go ahead and inspect on them, just to see how our code looks in the console, you can see right here that we have radio buttons right here. All right, so this is basically it for radio buttons. They allow a user to choose something. All right, only one thing. Now if we go ahead and also do some checkbox example, let's say this one, if you're like, of course you're on Facebook or you're on any other like social media website, they will allow you to log in, and sometimes you have this checkbox that allows you to, if you click on it, you'll just it says like remember me, okay, remember me. It will just, you know, the next time you are gonna go and use your website or gonna log into your account, it will be already logged in. And this is basically what our checkbox is, you know, it's just a test case. This is what basically a checkbox is used for. If I go right over here and input and type, it's gonna be a check box right here, and the name, let's say remember me, and we can do just a symbol label right here, for remember me, and remember me, which is going to be the content of the label. Okay, now if we save this, refresh that, you can see that right here you can see right here, hopefully you're seeing this one. Okay, it's right here, it says remember. Let me just get back. Yeah, remember me, and we need a PR right here. Oh, no, it's not right here, it's right here. Alright, so this is basically how it works. Alright, so this is basically for those two. Now if I go to the last one, which is the file, as of course it's pretty similar, all we have to do is just type an input, type file, and we will of course can set a value, we can set a name, let's set a name, my file, and this is basically it. So now let's just like do some other label right here, so because why not, my file, you can write this as that. For the for, you can write any name you want, and of course right here you can also write any name you want, my file. Alright, but of course for the types are choosing words, so you can type anything, so you can't type anything you want, and the names, of course you can type anything you want. So if I save this one, go right here, also refresh, you can see that right here we have a choose file like button. If we click on it, now we can just, you know, go ahead and download or upload, actually not download, upload any file we want. If we actually go to pics, and if we pick this picture right here, you can see the name of the picture is right here. You can do it again, you can see the name of the picture right here. Alright, so let me do some BR. And as you're seeing right here, it's just a pretty simple input, and not only just pics, you can also choose like a file of txt right here. Alright, so basically when you're gonna choose your file, it's just gonna appear right here. And so yeah, this is basically it for the input, the checkbox, and the radio buttons, and see you guys in the next video. So we're just getting up there, and this one is all about some form attributes. Okay, there is basically multiple attributes for the form, and the most important ones are action and method. So basically we're just gonna go right up here and do an action attribute. An action basically just allows the form to go to a certain page so it can perform its own back-end operations. Okay, every form to be processed has to go somewhere, or has to be processed on the back end using some file. Let's see, we're gonna just do like a file.php, and this basically, this form is gonna process this one right over here. If we actually go ahead and save this and try to click on the button right here, it will just give us, it will just give us nothing. Actually, it will just tell that the file.php does not exist. It does not exist, which is actually fair because we don't actually have it here. So this is basically, I'm actually not gonna do some PHP work because I don't want to confuse you. Just like know right now, or keep in mind right now that the action is concerned with the back end. Okay, the back end file that's gonna do the form processing is file.php, or whatever actually any file name that you write here. So this is basically it for the action. Now the second thing is the method, and the method basically allows you to choose an HTTP request, or to do an HTTP request to process this file right here. And we have like two main PHP requests. We actually have 4, but I'm gonna talk about only get and post right here. Okay, so basically every time like a form is processed through some file, this file is gonna do some operation with the whole form. Okay, and the get, if we choose get right here, we just go like this. This method right here only collects the data in the URL, just like right here right now. Okay, these data are sent through the whole URL, and it's actually limited. It's a limited small amount of data. So yeah, this is basically for the get method. Okay, and we also have the post method. If we try it right over here, of course I'm not gonna save or anything because we don't actually have a file to process through. I'm just this is like some theoretical knowledge, but when you're gonna work with the back end, you're gonna use those two a lot. All right, and if you don't work with the back end and you want to be a front end developer, it's just good to know. It's just good to know. If you're a front end developer, you're actually gonna work on the back end. So because you're gonna be work someday with a back end developer, okay, and just process stuff. Okay, it's inevitable. So you have to know them. If either you're a front end developer, either you're gonna be a front end developer or a back end developer. All right, there's just web protocols. All right. So the second one is post, and the post processes like the form and basically sends large amount of data compared to get. Okay, the data is unlimited when using the post method. The post method doesn't send the data to the URL. Okay, it actually just after like using the method, it just sends you to some other page but it doesn't send the data right here in the URL. That's why it's actually it's more used. It's mostly used than the get method right here, because sometimes you'll need to send some sensitive data, and get will just show every bit of information you type into your form to the URL, which is actually unbelievably insecure. Okay, so basically these are the two methods that we are going to be looking into right here. and these are the main two attributes for every form out there that's working on the back end. So this is basically it for you guys for forms. I think you have like pretty good knowledge right now that can get you going with forms, and see you on the next video.